This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, good evening. Happy holidays, everyone. We're here for our regular council meeting this evening. We're going to do quick introductions. I'll explain how it works first, though. We will be voting online and council will be submitting their votes anonymously, and then the CEO will be revealing what the vote count was. We will start with introductions. So we have Councillor Shane Pelche.
Good evening, everyone.
Councillor Curtis Clayton.
Good evening. Happy holidays, everyone.
Councillor Ron Mamchuk.
Good evening, everybody.
Councillor Jeanine Boulanger.
Good evening.
CAO Mitch Duval.
Evening.
Assistant CEO Dominic Lemoine's in the background.
Good evening.
And you have myself, Jack Frost. Just kidding, Mayor Chris Ewan. Okay, we will start the meeting. I'll call the meeting to order. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Mamchuk.
Thank you. Second.
Councillor Boulanger.
Ooh, Councillor Pelche.
We need that red button.
Yeah, exactly. That good internet. Curtis, you're really screwing us up with that good internet.
Yeah.
And I'll think I can be quicker.
I'll have you cast your vote, please.
How's your internet, Mayor Ewan?
Yeah, apparently not good. There we go. Sorry.
Thank you. Vote is carried 5-0.
Thank you. I'll open the meeting at 7:02 p.m. Item number 2, adoption of the agenda. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Clayton.
Councillor Boulanger.
Thank you, Councillor Clayton. Councillor Boulanger seconds. Any edits or additions from council? Normally we would jump to public hearings first, but as I stated previously to council, I'd like to just go through the motions of regular or the regular agenda because we don't have much in between public hearings and now.
That's fine.
Thank
That's
you.
all
And just another note that we will be dealing with one of the variations and conditional uses. It'll be, I think, V14 and C27 simultaneously. So we'll be looking at both of them. If one goes through, then we work on the other one. Other than that, we will continue on. Please cast your vote.
Vote is carried 5-0.
Thank you. Moving on to item 3, adoption of the minutes. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Mamchuk.
Thank you. Second.
Councillor Pelche.
Thank you very much.
Council has before them the meetings of the December 1st meeting at the regular council meeting. At that meeting, we discussed various bylaws. Most of them are reappearing tonight's agenda for second and third reading. Also, council passed a resolution regarding the Dutch elm disease program and this awarding that contract. We also assumed some infrastructure works in the Grand Point area at Grand Point Meadows. We also signed some contract agreements with Valley Fiber for construction in the St. Agathe area, as well as we've awarded our garbage and recycling for a 4-year contract.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from council?
Not here.
Not here.
None here.
No, it's good.
Okay. Council, please cast your vote. Oh, my internet is not working at all. I'm in favor, Mr. CEO. I've just lost the agenda completely.
Okie dokie. We will call that carried 5-0.
Thank you. Okay, I've got the agenda frozen so I can see a bit here. I've got item 4, committee reports and minutes. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Boulanger.
Thank you. Second.
Councillor Clayton.
Thank you.
Councillor Boulanger submitted committee reports on the GPHA, the Brady Landfill Reachot Library, and the McDonald Reachot Planning District. Councillor Clayton provided the reports on the Red River Weed District as well as the St. Agathe CDI.
Any comments or questions from council?
None here.
No. Perfect. Okay, cast your vote. My internet is working again. Welcome to Rich Hut.
Vote is carried 5-0.
Thank you. Moving on to item 5.1, accounts not paid to be approved. Do I have a mover?
Counselor Mamchuk,
Thank you. Second.
Councillor Pelletier.
Thank you.
Two batches. One is a tax refund, no questions there. The second one is the big batch for over $1.5 million. 50% of that is payables to the schools in the province regarding education levies. We've also on the books to pay a bunch of debentures that we've taken out throughout the years. So come December 31st, those all need to be paid out. The Richot CDC is getting their yearly levy, as well as the loan for the St. Agathe CDI for their Valley Fiber project is also included in there. There's also quite a bit of bills or invoices for the St. Agathe boat launch project through Public Works. A lot of stone, riprap and stuff like that. The project is moving along quite well. They had perfect weather for that, so glad to see that. Other items, I think the CFO has covered that in his report. So if you have any further questions, I'll be as pleased to try to answer them as best as possible.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council?
not here.
None here.
No. Please cast your vote.
Vote is carried 5-0.
Thank you. Moving on, 5.2, payroll to be approved. Do I have a mover?
Counselor Clayton.
Thank you. Second.
Counselor Mamchuk,
Thank you.
This is in regards to payroll number 25 and quarter 4, I believe, for the fire department. For the regular payroll, this is for the 2-week period of November 22nd to December 5th. Things were fairly quiet on both fronts as far as administration and public works go. Not that much overtime was claimed, so we have no concern at our ends.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council?
not here.
Thank you. Okay, cast your vote.
The vote is carried 5-0.
Thank you. Moving on to 5.3, interim budget 2021. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Blanchet.
Thank you. Second.
Councillor Pelletier.
Thank you.
This is hopefully just a mere formality under the Municipal Act. Municipalities don't have the authority to spend a dime unless they pass a budget. Our budget process comes towards early April, maybe earlier, if we could help Councillor Pelletier out. But in the meantime, we will pass a resolution regarding an interim budget. This is a yearly requirement, and we've basically copied the figures from 2020 over to 2021. This will tie us over for sure until June.
Thank you. Any questions and comments from council?
Not here.
Hope they work on bringing that in a little earlier than April.
Councillor Pelletier, you're looking for January 4th, correct?
Not quite that ambitious, but late February would be a nice number for me.
Sounds good.
Our CFO has a game plan, so we'll see how well it goes.
Yeah, that's
Awesome.
perfect.
Okay, cast your vote, please.
The vote is carried 5-0.
Thank you, Kay. We are now moving on to public hearings. I'm just going to give a quick rundown on how this will work for people that have never done this before and any attendees watching, because we seem to have quite a few. The way it works online is we will go through the agenda, item 6.1.1, let's say. We will do our thing as council and CAO, and then I will call for anyone that would like to speak in person. So if there's anyone in the council chambers, and then I will go to online. This is in favor, sorry. And then I will say anything requests brought in through letter or email. And then I will go to the anyone opposing to speak in person, online, and anything came in received from letter or email. So that's how it works. So just please don't just spurt out or jump in. We will let everyone speak. It will be a lengthy process tonight because we have quite a few of them. So be patient, but you will get your turn. Having said that, I will move on to item 6.1.1 V13 2020 Kevin Cohn 554 Pembina Trail.
The application is regarding a proposal to vary the location of a detached accessory building from the rear yard to the front yard for the purpose of building a 28 by 36 foot garage, and also to vary the required front yard setback from 30 feet to 17 feet. Notices were sent according to the Planning Act to 100 meters of the said property. I keep clicking on the wrong item here. Here we go, the mailing list. It was also sent out to the RMM McDonald, the Public Works Manager, Building Inspector, Councillors, Fire Chief, also posted at the Case Provencher in Saint Agathe, at the Dépanneur Cheyenne in Saint Agathe, as well as posted on the municipal board and municipal website. No connect message was sent out.
Thank you very much. I'll open the public hearing at 7:12 p.m. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor in person?
No, there's not.
Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor online? Anything received in favor?
Nothing received as of 4 o'clock today.
Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition in person?
No, there is not.
Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition online? Was there anything received in opposition?
Nothing received.
Thank you. I will do one last call for anyone online in person to speak in favor or opposition, or any comments they may have for clarification. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing at 7:14 p.m. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Mamchuk,
Thank you. Second.
Councilor Clayton.
Thank you.
Resolution reads, therefore be resolved that variation application V13 2020 to vary the location of a detached accessory building from the rear yard to the front yard, and to vary the minimum required front yard distance of 30 feet to 17 feet for the purpose of building a detached garage is approved, subject to the following conditions. Yard drainage shall not affect the adjacent properties. The applicant must make application for a building permit from the municipality. Plan submitted for permit application must include construction details, elevations, foundation details stamped by an engineer, and maximum permitted accessory building size as per table 6.2 of the zoning bylaw 9-19 is 1,200 square feet with a maximum height of 15 feet.
Thank you very much, Mr. CEO. I'll now open it up for council debate or discussion. Does anyone have any comments at this time or debate?
No, as in planning, we talked about this and it's an odd shaped lot. It's pretty much the only place, from what I understand, that a detached garage could be located. So looks okay to me.
Okay, Councillor Clayton, this is your area, correct? Do you have anything to add?
Nope. I think Councilor Boulanger hit the nail on the head there. You know, the property is sheltered as well. There's no opposition from the neighbors. Yeah, I don't see any issues with this at all.
Perfect. Okay, council, please cast your vote.
The vote is carried 5-0.
Thank you. 6.1.2 V14 2000, sorry. 6.1.2 V14 2020 wrap 491 Carloni Cove. And Mr. CO, this is the one with C27 as well, correct?
Correct. So V14 is in regards to varying the maximum height of the accessory building from 17 feet to 21 feet for the purpose of storage building. If we scroll down to C27, C27 again is regarding a conditional use, and the conditional use for the same property is to allow a limited contractor service consisting of foundation services in a rural residential RR zone. For both, notices were sent within the 100 meters of said property. It was also sent out to the McDonald Reach Out Planning District, the Reach Out Manager, Building Inspector, Council, Fire Chief, posted on site, as well as the municipal board and municipal website. No connect message was sent out.
Thank you. I'll open the public hearings at 7:17 p.m. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor in person?
No, there is not.
Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor online? Is there anything received in favor?
We did receive a letter from Mr. Robert Scaletta, who lives at 476 Prairie Acres in Grand Point. I'm sending this email in support for both the variation and conditional use application for Ian and Grace Rapp at 491 Carloni Cove.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition, pardon me, in person?
No, there's not.
Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition online? Other than our CAO.
I tried to cover my mic as best as I could.
Is there anything received in opposition?
Apchu, no, thank you.
Thank you. One last call. Anyone in favor or in opposition, or any comments or questions they are concerned about, wishing to speak? I will close the public hearings at 7:18 p.m. Do I have a mover in regards to, Mr. CO, do I have to do a mover and seconder for both positions or just the both in total?
Both resolutions will be independent, so you will need one for each. So if we can proceed with 6.2.3, the conditional use, please.
So we will go mover in a second for 6.2.3 C27 2020.
Councillor Mamchuk,
Thank you. Second.
Councilor Blanchet.
Thank you.
So for C27 2020, the resolution will read, therefore be resolved that conditional use application C27 2020 is approved subject to the following conditions. This use shall not be noxious, offensive, or hazardous by reason of emissions or production of odor, dust, refuse, matter, waste, vapor, gas, smoke, vibrations, or noise, and shall not create a nuisance beyond the property sightlines. 2, there shall be no storage of hazardous liquids, materials, or substances. 3, the operation shall not generate undue traffic or adversely affect the amenity or convenience of the neighborhood. 4, the applicant shall comply with the municipal noise bylaw 14-2003. 5, the hours of operation shall be limited from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. 6, a maximum of 2 service vehicles will be allowed. 7, any outdoor lighting must be located and arranged or shielded so that no light is directed at any adjoining properties. 8, applicant shall maintain the storage area for proper drainage so as to not affect adjacent neighbors. 9, all materials and equipment must be stored in an enclosed building. 10, the applicant shall obtain a building permit for the storage building from the RM Reach Out office. 11, the maximum size of an accessory building must not exceed 2,400 square feet. 12, the storage of derelict vehicles is not permitted. 13, any maintenance work on vehicles shall be performed within buildings. 14, applicant shall ensure that all proposed construction conforms to the Manitoba building codes, fire codes, health standards, labor laws, and any other municipal and or provincial permits and approvals as may be required. 15, the applicant shall comply with the littering bylaw 5-2011. Any signage shall comply with the municipal zoning bylaw 9-2019, part 11. 17, that the applicant will provide a signed confirmation letter accepting the terms of this order. There may be site audits conducted to ensure compliance, and any non-compliance may cause revoke of the conditional use at any time.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. I'll open up for council debate now. Council, any comments or questions at this time?
No, it just, it begs the question, and we're talking about both issues right now, right? Or
No,
we supposed to
we're
debate-
just debating the limited contractor business, and then we will move on to the variation.
Right, so we're kind of going backwards, right? We're doing the
Yeah,
contractor
yeah.
first and then the,
Yeah.
okay. So yeah, it just, I mentioned this before about businesses in Grand Point, how it's supposed to be a bedroom community. I just worry that this will open it up to, I know we're trying to promote economic development, but I'm just worried that it's going to open up to many more businesses popping up on in everybody's garage, everybody's house, when we've got Discovery Drive down the way for that purpose. But I understand this property owner and this business is very well respected in the community, which is awesome. Nobody has any objections. So it's a tough line, you know, like they're doing everything right, they're doing everything good, and I agree with that. I just don't know about the snowball effect, that's all.
No, those are valid concerns or points. Anyone else from council wishing to make a statement?
My concern is that it hasn't really been looked at before this council. And that's why we're seeing that there's contractor yards all over Grand Point and all the 2-acre lots, right? I'm glad they came forward, and we get to set limits when they come forward and do it, as opposed to just having done it. It gives us some visibility into the contractor yards that we see in the RM, not just in Grand Point as well. It's kind of my take on that one.
Thank you, Councillor Pelletier. Anyone else? No. Yeah, no, I appreciate the debate there. I will tend to agree with Councillor Pelletier. We have a little bit more control. We can work with them. They become a business member. They can work with our local chambers of commerce when they are, you know, I guess the best word to put it is a legal business in the municipality, making a lot more, I don't want to say safer, but it is safer because we are working together to ensure that everything is met and the standards are there for the people that are around them and as well as the business themselves. So it's a tough call for sure, because we don't want that snowball effect that just saying, hey, go ahead and do it, but we also don't want to say, you know, you're not allowed to do anything like that. So it's definitely a situation that could go both ways, Councillor Belanger.
No, I agree. And I agree, like this allows us to look at each situation on an individual basis, which is great, you know. So you can't just say it's black and white, there's no business allowed, like that wouldn't work either. So I do appreciate them coming forward to do a business plan and, you know, get all that in so we can set limits, which is great. So we have to look at this as a case by case situation, so, which is where we're at. So I just want to put that out there that, you know, it could, there could be a lot more coming, which may not be the bad thing, but.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, seeing no other discussion, I will have council cast their vote on 6.2.3.
So we're voting, I'm sorry, we're voting on 6.1.3, Mr. Mayor?
6.2.3, Councillor Mamchuk.
Okay, thank you.
6.2.3. Yeah, no problem.
Okay, thank you.
The resolution is carried 5-0.
Thank you very much. Just catching up back here. So now we're going back to 6.1.2, V14 2020, 491 Carloni Cove. Please, Mr. CEO, correct me if I'm wrong.
That is correct.
Okay, so I need a mover and I need a mover, please.
Councillor Clay.
Councillor Mamchuk?
Second by Councillor Mamchuk. Thank you.
Okay, so the resolution for V14 reads, therefore be resolved that variation application V14 2020 be allowed to vary the allowed maximum height of an accessory building from 12. Let me just start right over. Therefore be it resolved that variation application V14 2020 to vary the allowed maximum height of an accessory building from 17 feet to 21 feet for the purpose of constructing a storage building that will be used to store equipment and materials related to the business as defined in the Arama-Richot zoning bylaw 9-2019 as amended is approved subject to the following conditions. The maximum, number one, the maximum coverage of all accessory buildings on the property must not exceed 2,400 square feet. Two, the applicant must obtain a building permit for the accessory building from the Arama-Richot office. And three, plans submitted for building permit applications must include construction drawings, elevations, foundation details stamped by an engineer.
Thank you very much. I'll open it up for council to debate. Any comments on this, council?
Not here.
Nope, I think that's all good.
Do we need to add anything for aesthetics on this thing?
I don't know. Maybe have we looked at things like that in the past for these type of building units? I guess we have a little bit more control because it's technically going to be part business, or is that not how that works, Mr. CEO?
We have had some requests of that nature in the past. A good example, and it's in Grand Point, but I can't exactly tell you. You could see it from the highway. It's a blue house with a blue detached garage with a loft, and I think the loft is used for an artist of that nature, so it blends in quite well. I believe if council wants to, I would agree with Councillor Pelletier's recommendation to add that clause that it be somewhat matching to the home or to the neighborhood as best as we can, right?
I think, Mr. CEO, that's Mr. Kubis's area, I think. I think that's the name of the person that had that detached garage.
And we've added that as a clause in other conditional uses as well.
That's right.
So, Councillor Pelletier, sorry, Councillor Mamchuk. Councillor Pelletier, would you like to continue with that addition?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And I've spoken to the owners before, and I don't think that would be something that they would not expect. They've been very forthcoming in the process on this, and I see she's on the line. Hopefully I'm not speaking out of turn, but yeah, I think we should add that.
Okay. Councillor Belanger?
Yeah, I was just going to say for the building permit application, they have to submit their drawings and details and those kind of things. So when our inspector is reviewing those things, would that be a point where he could interject and make suggestions if it's not to their liking, or what is the process there?
I think if you don't add the word aesthetics to the neighborhood, I think you're leaving it open to builders' prerogative. They could put up a pink shed, and because we didn't put it as a condition, guess what? You're stuck with a pink shed.
Okay, good. So let's, as per Councillor Pelletier's request, aesthetics addition, please. Okay, so we will vote with that addition. Council, please cast your vote.
The vote is carried 5-0.
Thank you. Item 6.1.3 V15-2020 North Island Industries Limited, 721 Main Street, IDC.
The proposal is to vary the temporary CCAN placement from 9 months to 5 years. Mailing notices were sent out to the surrounding properties within 100 meters, sent out to the reach out manager, building inspector, council, fire chief, Mac Miles, who's the applicant, TC Energy, as well as posted at the Ile des Chênes Country Store, Ile des Chênes Hotel, as well as posted on the municipal board and municipal website.
Thank you. I will open the public hearing at 7:32 p.m. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor in person?
No, there's not.
Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor online? Is there anything received in favor?
Nothing received in favor.
Thank you. Is there anyone wishing to speak against in person?
No, there is not.
Is there anyone wishing to speak against online?
Yes, there is.
Okay, just your name for information, please.
Chris Marchand,
Chris Marchand, and you are on St. Antoine Bay, correct?
correct.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
We'd like to oppose to it because this building, since they've gone in there, it's not at all what we expected as the neighborhood. I'm also speaking on behalf of Lorraine and Armand Julia as well, who
Okay.
had, I think they got the letter. And this place is just becoming an eyesore for us in the neighborhood. So the CCAN, is that going to be on the west side of the building facing the fire hall?
Mr. CEO.
This is an extension of an existing CCAN, so my assumption would be that it would be remaining where it is, but without confirmation of the applicant, I cannot definitely give you that answer.
Well, that's something we need to know where it's going to be placed. If it's on the west side of the building facing the fire hall and the ambulance station, that's on facing the Bay St. Antoine, where we have to look at that. If it's
Okay,
on the others, if it's on the east side of the building where we don't see it, on the west side of the building, attached to the old one that's there with all the stuff piled on top of it. But if it's going to be on this side of the building facing the fire hall and the ambulance, that's facing Bay St. Antoine, and there's no way we want to look at that. We already look at enough junk.
The application is for the current CCAN, so it's the one to the east with the stuff on top of it.
So it's on the west side of the building where the new buildings are built.
It's wherever it is right now, it's the one where apparently there's stuff on top of it already.
Yeah, okay, so it's on the west side then.
That's the
No.
one that is requesting the extension from 9 months to 5 years.
Which will end up by being permanent because the other one's been there for 20 years. Okay, so if as long as it's not facing the highway, facing the fire hall and the ambulance, I guess we're okay with that. But if it's on this side where it's along the roadway, the main street, we don't want it there. We already look at enough stuff as it is. And
Okay, so,
semis.
no, fair enough. I appreciate that. So are you removing your opposition?
Well, how much more stuff are they going to pile in there? I guess that's the other question after that. Like, they keep adding and adding. I'm afraid what else we're going to be looking at. But if it's on the west side of the building, I guess I'll pull my rejection. But that's
Okay.
only if it's on the other side of the building
Okay. No,
and
I appreciate
not facing the fire hall and the ambulance. Like, we already look at enough stuff as it is. We don't want any more stuff to look at.
Okay. No, I appreciate that. Thank you for the comments.
Yeah, because they're getting a little bit out of hand, I think.
Okay. No, that's fair. That's your opinion to state for sure. Council, do you have anything to add or question to the Marchand, sorry. No? Okay, thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Marchand, I believe. I appreciate that.
Yep. Okay. Thank you very much for listening.
you.
Okay,
No,
thanks.
anytime. Is there anyone else wishing to speak against online? Is there anything received against?
Not really against, just a letter from TC Energy that requests the applicants to make an application to them as well, because they are within the pipeline development area. So consultation between TC Energy and the applicant should happen prior to both parties before course of action is determined. So we, I believe our planning person put that as a condition of the variation.
Okay,
Do we have a dictionary for that letter from TC Energy? I went through it. I don't know if they're against it or for it. It was, there's a lot of details in there that make
The
it vague.
way I would interpret that letter is that they're in favor unless you don't meet all their recommendations.
And it still requires your approval.
Yes, so basically if council decides to proceed with the approval of the variation, one of the conditions is that we get written confirmation from TC Energy that they're okay with it as well. Otherwise, if we don't get that, then the extension will not be granted.
Okay.
okay, thank you. Any other discussion?
I have a comment about the stuff being piled on top. It was mentioned that there's a whole bunch of stuff on top. I'm not familiar with the area, so I haven't witnessed it myself, but the condition says all material shall be contained inside the CCAN. So obviously things are going to be piled on top. Can we get commissioners to take a drive-by and get them to look at that? What is the process there to make sure it's clean and out of sight?
Absolutely, we would have the commissioners come in and issue an offense if deemed contradictory to the variation granted.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, did I already close this public hearing? Sorry, I'm sidetracked here. No, I don't think so.
No, you have
No.
not.
Thanks. Any final comments, questions, in favor or opposition, people wishing to speak? No, Mr. CAO, I did receive an email very late, like very, very late. I think it was around 6 p.m. With a letter that I think the Marchands did mention their names from the Julian family. Did you want me to add that now or just read it so council hears it?
Please just read it so council is aware of it. For future, we would appreciate anything for or against by 4 o'clock, because it then becomes very difficult to give the information to council moving forward.
Yeah, I did make that statement to the residents, but I said I would try on their behalf. So I will read this letter, but I wouldn't normally do this. So to Tanya Waddell, 350 Main Street, North Island Industries Limited. Dear Mrs. Waddell and board members, we as some of the closest and most immediately impacted by the proposed temporary CCAN placement from 9 months to 5 years, end quote, directly across from St. Antoine Bay with its storage facility, in our view, appeal the variation application under the Richard zoning bylaw 9/2019. We feel the above named industry has misled us with their actual site. In addition to the storage facility, they are using the parking area adjacent to the indoor storage facilities as a compound for storing several kinds of unsightly vehicles. We feel the owner's proposed addition of a temporary CCAN placement from 9 months to 5 years as being a detriment to the immediate neighborhood. Character of neighborhood. North Island Industries Limited ignores the change this will have on the nature of neighborhood. The reality is that several cars and trucks, including semis, driving up and down Main Street and parking on both sides of Main Street. This has inevitably had a traffic impact as well as impacted the character of our neighborhood. Have evacuation and safety issues been addressed? Site is located across from the fire hall and emergency services. In case of emergency and/or fire, emergency vehicles could be compromised by vehicles parked on the street. In conclusion, we oppose this industry's further adding to a commercial business of this magnitude adjacent to our residential street, which will lead to more traffic and noise. Another consideration is the concomitant loss in property values that go with this project. We feel the impact from adding a temporary CCAN container will further affect the value of the homes in our area. Very truly yours, Armand and Lorraine Julien, 380 Bay Saint-Antoine, Ile-des-Chênes. And I will send that to you, Mr. CEO, tonight or tomorrow. Okay, I will close the public hearing at 7:41 p.m. Do I have a mover?
Councillor
Councillor
Mamchuk.
Pelletier.
Councillor Pelletier seconds, thank you.
The variation would read, therefore be resolved that variation application V15-2020 to vary the definition of a temporary building from 9 months to 5 years for the purpose of placing a CCAN on the property as defined in the RM of Recharge zoning bylaw 9-2019 as amended is approved subject to the following conditions. Only one 8x20 CCAN can be allowed by this application. CCAN must be kept in good condition, not become unsightly, and be kept inside the compound within privacy fencing. 3, the applicant must obtain a development permit to allow the CCAN from the RM of Recharge office. 4, all materials shall be contained inside the CCAN. 5, CCAN may not be used for the storage of any hazardous materials or substances. And 6, applicant must apply for written consent from the CCAN from TC Energy online through the TC's Canadian third-party crossing application portal at website provided or by calling a certain number.
You're muted, Chris.
Thank you. I'll open it up for council debate. That's the slogan of the 2020, just so everyone knows you're muted.
True.
Does council have any discussion or debate on this?
This is Councillor Mamchuk here. Do we have to put that clause what the concerned party was talking about having it on the east side or west side? I couldn't exactly follow what you were saying. So it doesn't face their household, I guess. Is that what they're saying?
Yeah, it's I believe it is on the west side. I'm not there right now physically, but Councillor Pelletier can attest with me. I'm pretty sure it's the one that's there. It is on the west side, and it won't be moved or changed. But we could add that in just to confirm if Mr. CEO believes that's an option.
Well, it falls under the second one where it's got to be kept within the compound and inside the privacy fencing.
Then there you go.
I don't have it on the east side.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's covered then. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
And then kind of a follow-up from you, Councillor Mamchuk and Councillor Belanger. Did you want to see in the variation that we do not allow anything to be left on top of that CCAN?
Yes, I would like to see that.
That's number 4 as the variation. All materials shall be contained inside the
Inside the
CCAN.
CCAN. Yep.
Thank you. I just wanted to confirm that. Any other discussion?
As long as everything's covered.
Oh, sorry, Councillor Clayton.
Just on the last letter of opposition, they mentioned an additional CCAN. We're not actually adding one, right? We're just extending the life of the existing one.
Yes,
We
we're
are
just,
correct.
Councillor Mamchuk, go ahead.
So what is he going to do with all his extra goods as he has on his property? Where's he going to put it? He has to remove it, I guess.
Yeah, that would be for him to decide, but maybe council can log on to Kijiji if it's anything for sale.
Yeah. Well, no, just that if he has all this stuff piled up, and if he only has one 8x20, it's going to be pretty hard to put everything in there.
Yeah, again, I think bylaw will discuss that with him, and
Okay.
I'm sure he'll find a solution.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, I will ask council to cast their vote.
The vote is carried 4-1. Councillor Mamchuk voted against.
Okay, thank you. Item 6.1.4, V16-2020 Putsky, dash Shady Lane. Sorry if I missaid that name.
The proposal is to vary the minimum site area for a single family dwelling in a rural residential RR zone from 2 acres to 1.68 acres. The notices were sent out to 100 meters of the said property, as well as the McDonald Reach-Out Planning District, Reach-Out Public Works Manager, Building Inspector, Council, Fire Chief, and the applicant, Sebastien Putsky, as well as posted on site at the municipal board and municipal website.
Thank you. I'll open the public hearing at 7:47 p.m. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor in person?
No, there's not.
Is there anyone wishing to speak in person in favor? Sorry, online. Cool. Long night here. Online.
Yes. Can you see us?
Cool. Yes, we can't see you, but you can just give us your name.
Okay. So I'm Anjad Young with my husband, Taylor Young. We're the owners of the property.
Perfect. Go ahead.
So we just wanted to just say hi. We are new to the neighborhood. We bought this property in October of this year from longtime resident Patrick Carrier, which we've heard a lot about. So our property is technically, I think, just over 4 acres combined, and the RM owns a bit, slice right in the middle. So the applicants who are wanting to build are actually really good friends of ours. So they're another family. We have a daughter and another baby on the way. So we're just hoping to have another awesome family that kind of lives the Grand Point lifestyle right next to us.
A couple of points to make that I wanted to make was actually goes off of Councillor Belante. It is a bedroom community. We're not asking for a lot. In fact, we're selling the lot for the price we bought it for. We were kind of forced to buy it when we bought the 1999 Shady Lane. It came with this lot, so we're just selling it to some of our best friends who have a daughter the same age as ours. It's a pretty straightforward thing. We're not trying to make a buck or anything like that. We also went to all the neighbors in person and chatted with them, who are all on board as well, and are actually excited to have another little girl running around the street. It's a single family dwelling, and the only reason it's less than 2 acres is actually the turnaround at the end of the road cuts out a chunk of the lot. Other than that, it would be exactly matching the other 3 surrounding neighbors, and us would be the 4th neighbor. So I think for those points that we would really appreciate approval from the council. So. No,
I appreciate you stepping in, and it sounds like the Grand Point lifestyle is where it's at, so I'll have to learn more about it.
Thanks.
Councillor Belanger, you're pretty lucky. So I'll just ask, is this your letter of support you brought in as well, just so we don't have to double back here? Taylor?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it touches on the same points, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. No, I appreciate that. Council, do you have any questions for them?
Not here.
No. Okay, thank you. I appreciate you jumping in. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor online? Anything received in favor other than the letter of support from the 2 that just spoke, the Young family?
Nothing else received.
Thank you. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition in person?
No, there's not.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition online? Anything received in opposition?
Nothing received.
Thank you. I will do one last call. In favor, in opposition, any means, any questions, comments? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing at 7:50 p.m. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Mamchuk.
Second.
Councillor Belanger.
Thank you.
Resolution reads, therefore be resolved that variation application V16 2020 be approved with the following conditions. 1, the applicant must obtain a building permit for the dwelling from the Armour-Richard office. 2, the applicant must include architectural plans as requested by the Armour-Richard building inspector. 3, the applicant must obtain approval of the variation from Manitoba Conservation and Climate for the septic field prior to the application of a building permit. 4, the applicant must receive approval from Manitoba Conservation and Climate for the septic field or holding tank. 5, the proposed construction must not affect the drainage of the neighboring properties. And 6, that the applicant will require a driveway permit from the Armour-Richard to access the property.
Thank you. I will open it up from council. For council, any discussion?
I just want to say, yeah, we talked about this in planning, and the area is a little unique in that there's not a whole lot around it other than vacant land. And so as far as the amount of land goes, it's kind of just, you know, we're just putting it on paper. You have to have 2 acres, but there's more than 2 acres that surround them. I know it's kind of the rule, but I don't see a problem with this. And same with putting a septic field in. It's not like they're trying to squeeze in extra lots to sell more lots to get more revenue. It's just kind of a unique situation. There's no other option for this land. It's kind of landlocked between the RM and the next lot. So I don't see any issues with this. And, you know, they're looking for either a septic field or holding tank. So they might have run into some problems with conservation getting a field, but they can always have the option of a tank. So I see no problems on our end.
Okay, thank you, councillor. Anyone else?
Yeah, that would have been my only comment is being so close to the river that conservation might likely give them a no for the septic field with the size of lots. So if they're good with the holding tank, which they'll likely end up with, I see no problem.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, I will ask council to cast their vote. That's the bat phone. I've got to go.
Do you have to go?
I didn't have to make that joke myself. Good to know.
The resolution is carried 5-0.
Thank you. Moving on, 6.2.1, C25-2020-Vandal-2195 Leclerc Road General Contractor Service Landscaping.
The proposal is to allow a general contractor service consisting of a landscaping business in a CG zone, commercial general zone. Again, notices were sent out to 100 meters of said property, as well as the McDonald-Richard Planning District, the Public Works Manager, Building Inspector, Council, Fire Chief, also posted at the Ile des Chênes Country Store, Ile des Chênes Hotel, and posted on the municipal board and municipal website.
Thank you. I'll open the public hearing at 7:54 p.m. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor in person?
No, there's not.
Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor online? Is there anything received in favor?
There is an email received in favor from Stephanie Novotny. Good morning. This is to confirm that Richard and Breda Novotny are in support of the landscaping variance at C25-2020 2195 Leclerc Road. Please let me know if this email is sufficient. It is.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition in person?
No, there is not.
Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition online? Is there anything received in opposition?
Nothing received.
Thank you. I will close, I will do one last call. In favor, in opposition, any comments or questions? I will close the public hearing at 7:56 p.m. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Mamchuk.
Second, Councillor Clayton.
The resolution would read, therefore be it resolved that conditional use application C25-2020 is approved, subject to the following conditions. 1, this use shall not be noxious, offensive, or hazardous by reason of emissions and production of odor, dust, refuge, matter, waste, vapor, gas, smoke, vibration, or noise, and shall not create a nuisance beyond the property sightline. 2, there shall be no storage of hazardous liquids, materials, or substances. 3, the operation shall not generate undue traffic or adversely affect the amenity of or convenience of the surrounding residential neighborhood. 4, the applicant shall comply with the municipal noise bylaw 14-2003. 5, the hours of operation shall be limited from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. 6, any outdoor lighting must be located, arranged, or shielded so that no light is directed at any adjoining properties. 7, that the applicant shall maintain the storage area for proper drainage so as to not affect adjacent properties. 8, items stored outside shall be kept in a tidy manner so to not create an unsightly appearance. 9, the storage of derelict vehicles is not permitted. 10, any maintenance on work on vehicles shall be performed within the buildings. 11, that the applicant shall ensure that all proposed construction conforms with the Manitoba building codes, fire codes, health standards, labor laws, and any municipal and or provincial permits and approvals as may be required. 12, that the applicant shall comply with the littering bylaw 5/2011. 13, any signage shall comply with the municipal zoning bylaw 9-2019 part 11. 14, any fencing shall be minimum of 6 feet in height to a maximum of 10 feet. And 15, that the applicant shall sign a confirmation letter accepting the terms of this order. There may be site audits conducted to ensure compliance, and any non-compliance issues may be caused to revoke the conditional use at any time.
Thank you. I'll open up for council discussion. Council, anything to add?
Nothing here. It's in our little pocket of commercial
Business bubble?
business bubble at Leclerc and Habitant.
Yeah, I see that.
It butts right onto another commercial property. So I don't see an issue here.
Okay, council, cast your vote.
Resolution is carried 5-0.
Thank you. At this time, I'd ask to take a 3-minute break if council will allow for it.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, council, go ahead, 3-minute break and we will resume. Dominic, I don't know if you want to stop recording or just continue.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, we're back in session at 8:03 p.m. We'll move on to item 6.2.2 C20 for the public hearing, sorry. 6.2.2 C26-2020-Samborski-478 Notre Dame Bay East home-based business detailing.
The proposal is to allow a home-based business consisting of auto detailing in a residential general RG8 zone. Notices were sent out to the 100 meters of the said property, as well as the McDonald Retail Planning District, Public Works Manager, Building Inspector, Council, Fire Chief, the applicant, Mr. Zamborski, as well as posted at the Ile des Chênes Country Store, Ile des Chênes Hotel, Municipal Board, posted on our municipal board and the municipal website.
Thank you. I'll open the public hearing at 8:04 p.m. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor in person?
So there is not.
Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor online?
Yeah, I'd definitely like to speak in favor.
Yeah, go ahead, Jeremy.
Hi there, Jeremy Samborski here. I've been operating buffer zone for, I think, about 6 years now. Many of you guys have used my services. Going to try to make this quick. I know this is going on a long time here, but just wanted to say that I'd love to see my company grow and possibly get into a bigger building within town in, the next few years. But being able to take this next step would really help me get there.
Perfect. I appreciate that. Council, do you have any questions for Mr. Samborski?
We revisit a little bit later.
Like
Just
discussions?
after.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's fair. Sounds good. Yeah. So Jeremy, we might ask you to jump back in if there's any questions from letters of opposition, if you're okay with that.
No problem at all.
Okay, sounds good.
I do have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just, I think it says somewhere, or we heard somewhere, how you've been kind of doing this for a while now. I'm just curious, how long have you been running your business?
Almost 6 years now.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else from council?
Not here.
No. Okay. Okay. Thanks, Jeremy. We'll continue on. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor online? Is there anything received in favor?
Nothing received.
Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition in person?
No, there's not.
Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition online? Is there anything received in opposition?
We've received 2 letters in opposition. The first letter is from Ray Taigat. We are opposed to allowing a home-based business of auto detailing in the residential area. My wife and I moved to Ile-des-Chênes 11 years ago. Since that time, Ile-des-Chênes has grown a great deal. We have noticed that besides the condos and apartment development, there has been a lot of commercial property developed and a large influx of small businesses. The residential areas need to stay residential. There are many commercial areas in Ile-des-Chênes for this person to operate their business. We hope that council will not allow more commercial businesses to sneak into our home areas. The second letter received is from Bill and Betty Kuzatar. This email is submitted in opposition to the approval of conditional use application C26-2020 for the following reasons. We believe not only are automobiles and pickups being serviced, but fifth wheel and cabin trailers as well. Available parking insufficient. Notre Dame Bay East is relatively narrow and deteriorating conditions with no sidewalk. Therefore, it carries significant foot traffic. It is used regularly by local daycares, taking the children for walks and rides in various push and pull conveyances. Children are walking to and from school and riding their bikes on the street. All this makes further traffic, which is often in a hurry, very problematic. This is a residential neighborhood. Any business that relies on vehicle or equipment traffic should be located in an appropriate zoned area. There is already a stucco contractor operating out of a residence on Notre Dame Bay East. To our knowledge, there has not been a conditional use request approved for this operation.
Okay, thank you. Is there any, I'll give it one last call. Is there anyone else wishing to make comment, speak in favor or in opposition before we ask Mr. Samborski to jump back on the line for any questions council might have in regards to the letters of opposition? No, Councillor Pelletier, you did want to speak with or ask any questions before we close the public hearing?
Yep. Mr. Samborski, what's a quantity you do a day? Like, what kind of traffic are we looking at?
Right now, one a day, and on occasion I'll do a second because I have an auto dealership sending me work. So the odd time I'll jump on a second one within a day.
One of the concerns was you're doing fifth wheels there too as well.
I was when I first started out, but I do most of my fifth wheels off-site now, or motorhomes. I try to do them within shops in other areas. Any of the fifth wheels or campers that you may have seen in my driveway right now were actually owned by me. And it's been a weird year. I wasn't able to get them into storage, so they hung around a little longer than they normally would at the end of the season, but they've been parked and they're in storage now. So that was the concern on that one for me as well, was having them sitting in my driveway, but they finally got taken out to storage.
Thank you. Most of the vehicles are in your driveway when you're either getting ready for them, or I guess you could even do some of the work during the summer outside.
Yeah, I sure do. And I make sure that everything that is a customer's vehicle stays within the property.
I've got nothing else.
Okay, anything else from council?
Just on the volume. So there was a concern about parking on the street. Is that something that's typically happens, or is it just a temporary thing while you're moving vehicles around, or how does that work?
I typically don't park on the street, so I think he was kind of more concerned about that stucco business. They're always on the street. Most of my vehicles stay within the property at all times, and I try to make sure that I don't have more than what my driveway would handle, so I don't really see anything on the street.
Okay, and do you have you mentioned that in the future you'd like to expand into another business. Do you have anything a bit more, not concrete, but a better, like, are you talking a year, 5 years? Like, if we were to maybe put a condition on this conditional use as to, like, in a year, we should revisit to see where you're at, or is that a bit
currently
premature?
would be in a new building if there was anything that was functional and available within our RM or even close to our RM. I'd like to stay within our RM because I have a lot of local businesses that use me as well. But as soon as I can get into, a more commercial space, I would. It's just as long as it's viable for the business to continue to grow.
Okay, so you're currently looking, got your eyes open, and just as soon as something pops up, because there are places in, I don't know exactly what you're looking for, but there's places in Grand Point, and I'm, they're developing that, from what I understand, right?
Yes, and looking into those different shops and whatnot, there's Northlink Road as well and whatnot, but those don't technically have any parking. And if I have two customers' vehicles, I don't even have room for my own vehicle to be parked there. So, it's not really a better option. I'm actually taking up less space here and actually more clean and whatnot within my own shop. I'd almost be downgrading going there.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, perfect. Any other comments from council? No. Okay, thank you, Mr. Samborski. Moving on. One last call. Anyone wishing to speak? Okay, I'll close the public hearing at 8:13 p.m. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Mamchuk.
Second.
Councillor Clayton.
Thank you.
Resolution would read, therefore be resolved that conditional use application C-26/2020 to allow a home-based business consisting of an auto detailing services is approved, subject to the following conditions. 1, the applicant shall ensure that this use is not noxious, offensive, or hazardous by reason of emissions, product, or of odor, dust, refuse matter, waste, vapor, gas, smoke, vibration, or noise, and that this use shall not create a nuisance beyond the property sightline. 2, the applicant shall not cause the generation of undue traffic and congestion in the neighborhood. 3, there shall be no outdoor storage or hazardous goods or substances. 4, the applicant shall comply with the municipal noise bylaw 14-2003. 5, the hours of operation shall be between 7 a.m. and 11 p.m. 6, the applicant shall maintain the site and surrounding areas in an orderly fashion so it does not become unsightly. 7, any outdoor lighting must be located and arranged or shielded so that no light is directed and at any adjoining properties. 8, the applicant ensures that this use complies with all building codes, fire codes, and or provincial permits and approvals as may be required. 9, the space devoted to the business must not exceed 20% of the total floor area of the primary dwelling, or 300 square feet, whichever is the lesser. 10, all storage shall be indoors. 11, any signage shall comply with the municipal zoning bylaw, section 11. And 12, the applicant shall provide a signed confirmation letter accepting the terms of this order. There may be site audits conducted to ensure compliance, and any non-compliance issues may be caused to revoke the conditional use at any time.
Thank you. I'll open up for council discussion debate. Go ahead.
Just the all storage shall be indoors. Not likely practical if he's got a second car waiting to go into the shop. It would likely be in the driveway.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm fine with that too.
How long has he been doing these detailing, Mr.
6
Sambarski?
years.
6
Yeah,
years?
he's been going, 6 years now. I'll vouch for the company. I hear nothing but incredible things about his work. I walk by there almost every evening, and it's well kept. There's no vehicles on the side of the road. Anytime I've gone by, I've picked up my vehicle in his driveway before. I'm guilty as charged. I've used the business at a home that when it wasn't supposed to be there, but great service, and I can't speak any higher about a business that's operating out of their home. Very well taken care of. But I do agree with I do agree with Councillor Pelletier that we might have to alter the driveway thing. I'm okay with seeing that there. And I have no issues as well with the fifth wheels being cleaned as long as they're not obstructing any traffic and they're in his property. It doesn't make a difference to me.
Can we define storage a bit better? Like all storage other than client vehicles shall be indoors?
I think if we just go to all storage shall be kept on site.
Okay.
So within the confines of the property. Should cover it, right?
So that would be clause number 10, all storage shall be kept on site.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, as amended.
Did you want to add like no more than 2 vehicles overnight on site? Like, I don't know how that works for council.
Well, they're licensed vehicles, so you can have, I guess, a few of them. As long as they're licensed, I guess I don't see there should be any issue on that.
Yeah.
As long as it's not on the road, I guess.
Well, that's what I was going to say. How big is I'm not familiar with the property, but how big is the property? Can even fit more than 2? As long as it's not on the road.
Yeah, so maybe don't limit it. You just say as long as it's not on the road, right? That makes sense. Anything else from council?
Not here.
Councillor Pelletier, your area, anything to add?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, council, please cast your vote with the changes.
Okay. Just hang on here. Hang on here.
Vote is carried 5-0.
Thank you very much. Moving on to 6.2.4 C29-2020 Boulay-1970 PR 200 Recreation Retreat.
The proposal is to allow a spiritual and cultural recreational retreat facilities in a agricultural limited zone. Notices were sent out to 100 meters of said property. as well as the McDonald-Richard Planning District, Public Works Manager, Building Inspector, Council, Fire Chief, posted at the St. Adolphe Case, St. Adolphe Esso, as well as the Municipal Board and Municipal website.
Thank you. We'll open the public hearing at 8:20 p.m. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor in person?
No, there's not.
Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor online?
I would like to speak on my own behalf, please.
Yeah, go ahead, Brianne.
Okay, so I'm Brianne Boulay. I'm the new property owner and the one proposing the nature retreat. I have been working with the RM and the Eastman Tourism. I've reached out to Crow Wing Trail and some of the recreational people within the communities to see what needs there are to fulfill in regards to tourism and nature recreation. And I feel that there is a lot of alignment with their initiatives. I think it's something that would be great for the community as well as for the property itself, as we are invested in improving the property and protecting the natural resources. I also think it's something that's going to be great for the for people who come to visit for their mental and physical health, especially during these crazy COVID times. I do have a request to waive one of the conditions. Is that something that I do at this moment, or do I wait?
Yeah, you can ask, you can talk to council about the request now if you'd like.
Okay, so I am requesting to waive the condition for the geotechnical report. I've been working with Evan Graham, the Senior Flood Protection Officer through the province of Manitoba, and as well as a geotechnical company who will be creating the report. They've reviewed the property, they've reviewed the plans and the specs for the proposed tents, and they feel that there is no need because of the small footprint and the minimal impact on the property for a geotechnical report. And as a new business that's trying to get off the ground, especially on a property that no one can come see right now because of the COVID restrictions, that $15,000 geotechnical report is really a make or break for us. So we would request to waive that condition, but we are definitely willing to work with the RM and all other people who would like to be involved to ensure that we are, preserving the land and doing everything that we can to enhance the resources and ensure that it's an abundant property full of wildlife and plants and trees.
Perfect, thank you, I appreciate it. Brianne, I'm just curious before I open it to council, can you just direct councilor and myself where in the emails it states that the company or the province or water stewardship, does not recommend or require a geotechnical, just for our sanity?
I had forwarded these on to Tanya, I believe, on Tuesday.
Yeah, we have them.
Okay, so just at the beginning there, the one, it states, based on what you've shown me, I do not think you'll need a permit for the office for the tenting structures. The RM may require a geotechnical report based on their own criteria. You shouldn't need a permit from me based on what you're planning and what you've shown me so far. And let me see, there was another one from Evan as well that speaks to it.
That's the one that's tagged water stewardship there, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, I'm just reading through it slowly but surely. Sorry, I wasn't in the planning meeting. I'm playing catch up on my own fault. I'm just looking for some concrete, we do not require this. That's all I'm looking for.
For sure, and I would be more than happy to get something further from both, if that's something more like a letter other than an email.
Okay. Fair enough. No, that's all. I'm just for my own curiosity. Council, do you have any other comments or questions?
Yeah, just a quick one. Hi. you're just mentioning that the structures are temporary. But do you plan on taking them down every season, or will they be still permanent?
We're going into this with the intent of taking it down every spring due to flooding. We have the first dome in our garage right now, and we're hoping to get it installed over the weekend. And so that'll see how long it takes us to do. But the intent is that everything would be temporary, portable, and have a very small footprint and minimal impact on the land, and that we would be using existing clearances. It looks like people were maybe using it for the same intent before. I see some camping areas and some bonfires and whatnot. So we'd be using what the land already has to offer for these tents.
Okay. And with respect to the neighbors, I mean, if they were looking at the property once it's fully developed, is the plan to take most of these domes and sort of tuck them away, into the trees, or?
Absolutely. Also for the experience, and that's what we're focusing on, is the nature experience on the property. So we do want to make sure that the tents that we are renting out are more in the treed areas and private. We would like a meeting space that we'd be able to use for in conjunction with the rental units to be able to do small gatherings, whether it's a mindfulness retreat or I know bird watching is very big in the area, and paddling as well. So we can get maybe, the Paddle Manitoba to come out and for the weekend and stay and use the meeting space and facilities. That would be something that we would kind of be looking towards. But definitely want to make sure that we're being respectful to the neighbors as in regards to sight and in regards to sound.
Sounds very Zen-like. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Anything else?
Yeah, this is Councillor Mamchik here from St. Adolphe. Are you going to allow like overnight camping and all that, or is it going to be limited?
It would be limited to the tents that we own. So they would. The plan is eventually to get 5 rental tents on the property with 1 meeting space that could accommodate between 10 to 20 guests, and that would again be used for things like having a meeting space for retreats or educational purposes or different experiences. And we would definitely, I know parking was a concern, and there is definitely a lot of room for parking in the main area, and we would ensure that there is enough parking spaces for all that who come onto the property. But it would be through booking either an experience, a tour, or the rental property. There might be eventually some room to work with the RM if there's need for some more green space for the public. I would definitely be open to that if that's something that the RM is looking towards. But for now, it would be through booking directly with the company.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I have a question. Hi. You said you reached out to the Crow-Wing Trail. I'm just curious, and I should know this because I'm on the Crow-Wing Trail committee. Does the trail actually go through your property, or does it go around? And if it does go through, will your structures and those kind of things kind of inhibit the trail users' pathways and that kind of thing?
Yeah, it goes around the property. So I did reach out to Muriel, and she actually provided me your contact information as well. I was hoping to get to you before this, but I've been down and out for the past 2 weeks with the bad flu in the house. So just trying to deal with that, but would love to chat with you later about some possible opportunities. But okay. Trail would go around. It does look like people have been using a walking path there, and I don't want to take that away from the community, and I would definitely want something that can add to the Crow Wing Trail or provide a space for people to use maybe the facilities. If they're doing the Crow Wing Trail, there might be some room for stuff like that, but it would definitely have to be planned together to see what the best thing is, and for insurance purposes and stuff like that too. I don't particularly want people coming on the property and doing whatever without me knowing at this point, but I would definitely want to work with the Crow Wing Trail a little bit more and see what we can do for shared resources.
Yeah, that would be great, because I know what they're trying to do is promote trail goers and camping along the trail, just wherever they want to pitch a tent type of thing. So is there a potential or an area that you could possibly designate for, like, I think Councillor Mamchuk had asked if you would be just using your tents, or is there a potential space to allow these types of trail goers to pitch their own tent?
I am up for working with the needs of the community and the programs and initiatives that align with what we're trying to achieve here. So really it's up to, I guess, the RM and whatever their powers that be on what public usage and shared resources look like on the site. But I definitely want to make sure that the product and the service that we're providing is filling a need of these recreational programs.
Super, thank you.
Perfect. Anything else from council?
Not here.
Okay, thank you, Brianne. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor online? Anything received in favor?
No, I think council has emails from the geotechnical company, Water Stewardship, but also have letters from residents, Waddell, Marks, and Nyan Air, regarding concerns. So I don't know if council would want me to read the concern letters from the residents, and that way maybe Mrs. Boulay may answer them if they have not been already answered.
You know what? Yeah, let's bring up the comment emails, because I'm reading them right now and they don't look like opposition in the full. So go ahead, Mr. CEO, with the emails.
Okay, the first one is from Marge Waddell. I just have a few concerns, questions regarding this project. As I have mentioned, I live on Carrier Drive and will be directly across the road from the north end. Currently, Courier Drive is a quiet, pretty much residential road, and will this retreat change that? How much room will they be allocating for parking for people who are visiting the retreat, both now and in the future? Will there be enough parking spaces for everyone? My concern is that any overflow parking would be on Carrier Drive. The road currently has no shoulders and therefore is not designated for parking. Also, vehicles parked on the road could be obscured of our view of the river. As well, this would increase traffic in the road, causing concerns about the dangers of walking and or biking on the road for adults and children. It is a popular route for bikers and walkers, as it is part of the Crow Wing Trail, which brings me to my next question. What will happen to the Crow Wing Trail, which currently runs directly through the property? Will it still be open and accessible for everyone? Thank you. So that's one letter. The next letter is from Kim Marks. And I just need to increase the size. We have a few questions for the applicant during the session's application and a couple of thoughts of the process itself. There is little consistency with RM approvals on portable structures. The landowner adjacent to this river's edge plots was denied putting up a small portable shed on their property due to flooding. Yet now we are being asked to hear this plan using zoned agricultural land on a flood zone, and the RM approving domes, toilets, showers, meeting rooms, and covered picnic facilities. There has been little to no additional green space considerations in St. Adolphe, evidenced by closing down the park and baseball diamonds due to flooding. as well as lack of any playgrounds or park in the new development south of St. Adolphe. While it is nice to see someone with respect to the public recreation in this area, it does come with a cost, and we do have some concerns on the plan itself. The information file does not share details on the following. What is the forecasted maximum number of domes, temporary structures for the planned 8 acres? What were your forecasted number of people anticipated to utilize the facilities at one time, whether rented or not? What is the maximum vehicle parking limits for your lot? Reason for 2 questions above. And lastly, how does this impact the Crow Wing Trail? The property is adjacent to residential acreages. Carrier Drive is a local road used for access to a few acreages along it. It is also used by some agricultural machinery to travel between the farmlands spots on the south and north areas of Carrier Drive. It is not meant for commercial traffic, has no shoulders, and is a quiet residential road. You show a carpool parking lot, but 0 details on how many vehicles this parking lot holds. The number needs to match the forecasted maximum amount of people for the facility being planned. If not, where are the public and rental users going to park? We along Carrier Drive have also a beautiful riverfront property and certainly do not want to spend the rest of our time living in the area staring at parked cars in front of a property blocking our access. You can pretty much guarantee people won't park on 200. Why should they? You should have enough parking in your own plan to accommodate your facility and not stress the adjacent roads and landowners. The corn maze north of the town have parking to accommodate the facility, and it should be no different for this plan. What is Rivers Edge Eco doing to protect wildlife in this area? We know a group of deer, approximately 12, that pass through the space in our acreages pretty much on a daily basis to get to the river and beyond. We all here enjoy them and don't want to see them pushed out. And the last email is from Andy and Ron de Cruyenier. My apologies if we are a bit late with our email. I'm writing to you about file C29-2020 property rezoning near our home, St. Adolphe. We have some concerns with anyone building and developing near our flood-proofed homes, as there could be structural issues further down the line for all homes and properties in the area. We are under the impression after 1997 that restrictions were on buildings and said property. We have no concerns about the proposal wording as such of recreational facilities and retreat. There are repeated occurrences of trespassing on our properties and those of our neighbors, and we would like not to encourage more foot or road traffic on our properties. We have concerns with the type of recreational facilities due to noise levels and beautiful rural country homes and the reduction of wildlife and birds in the area because of it. We have concerns about the construction aspect with the building and facilities and the increase in heavy vehicles on our roads around our homes. And I'll take a break from here.
Thank you. So at this time, I'll actually ask Mrs. Boulay if she wants to jump in here before I continue on. We've touched base about the Crow Wing Trail, that you're willing to work with the natural assets around it and willing to let them walk through it, et cetera, et cetera. The road, do you want to, sorry, Bria, do you want to just answer any other of the follow-up questions that were mentioned in the emails if you can?
Absolutely, yeah. So I also do not want parking on Carrier Drive or on the highway. There is ample space when you first enter the property for parking. And that's something that we definitely want to ensure we have not only the parking space for people coming to rent or use the facilities, but also eventually we were looking into providing space for cyclists and people on the Crow Wing Trail so that they can have somewhere to park and use the surrounding recreational activities. There's definitely room. We do not want parking on the street as well. As for the construction aspect of it, we will need access off Carrier Drive every now and then to drop off, the tent or some of the material. But it's all set up by hand. It's very portable, temporary stuff. And other than having a truck drop off some material when we need to set something up, that would be the extent of the construction on the actual site. Like I said, we're trying to use all the natural resources as possible. It seems that one of them looked at my very grand scheme of things plan, which is kind of the sky's the limit. To start with, the phase approach would be to just get the rental properties up and running, and then work on the meeting space and some of the recreational tours and activities. But there is definitely ability going forward in the future for some of those other facilities that he brought up in the email, such as like a picnic shelter or a toboggan run, stuff like that, that the public could use as well. But that would be with partnerships within the community, and it would be kind of the last phase. Let's see, what else was there? As far as the deer on the property and wildlife, we want to ensure that we're attracting, a lot of wildlife to the property, and that we're not taking anything out. We're looking at creative bird houses that we can put up in the trees, and ensuring we're not clearing any native plants or grass and trees, so that, these animals stick around. Looking at planting some additional flowers and plants and stuff like that to attract more wildlife. Let's see, there was a lot of information there. Is there any concerns that I might be missing?
I think that's good. We'll continue on. If there's anything else that anyone has to add in an opposition, then we'll jump back to you.
Mayor Ewan, may I ask?
Yeah,
something right now. It's Marg Waddell. I'm one of the ones who wrote one of the emails.
You know what, Marg? I'm gonna jump to you probably in about 10 seconds. I'm just gonna go through the motions that we normally do, and then we'll get you to ask questions. Is there anyone wishing to speak against in person?
No, there's not.
Is there anyone wishing to speak against online? Marg, I know you had some questions. You can ask it now, and then we'll go back to Brianne in a bit.
Okay, when we were just sitting here watching and then listening to this, we were looking at the map that was sent out to us by the RM, and then we compared it to the map of the new development that was sent in the planning development plan, and they are different. So I was just want to get clarification where the boundary, the northern boundary is of this. The map sent out by the RM says it's at the ravine at the end of Carrier Drive. Map in the development shows it's directly across the road from me. Huge difference.
Okay, any other comments or questions, Marg, while we have you here, and then we can jump back to the CEO and Brianne for clarification on property.
Okay. Also, the Crowing Trails. So once the parking lot is developed, like I am fairly familiar with the property, Bladen's old property, and there with the Crowing Trail, would it go then through the parking lot, or would it be diverted around the parking lot?
Okay, any other questions or comments or concerns?
And with the quads, like Brianne had spoke that there would be an increase in, like there would be quads and that allowed. Will there be quad trails set up throughout the tree lines and then on the riverbank, or would they be, the quads be on the Crowing Trail, which is Carrier Drive?
Okay, anything else?
Okay. No, that is all that
Okay.
we thought. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in opposition online? Anything received in opposition?
No, there isn't.
Perfect. Okay, we'll go for a last call. Mrs. Boulay, if you want to jump back on in case council has any additional questions, or you want to answer the questions that Mrs. Waddell had.
Yeah, I can answer those first, if you don't mind, just so I can keep them in my
Sure.
head.
Yep.
So I know she mentioned the property. We had a legal survey done, and there are like markers on site currently, and they do go past the ravine along Carrier Drive up until I believe there's a White House on the corner. I'm not too sure if that's your residence or not, but it does go up until that area. So I hope that that clears up that question.
So that is actually very different than the map that was sent to us by the RM in the public notice.
Okay, Brianne, just hold on one second. Mr. CEO, do you want to touch on the map that was provided?
That is what I'm currently doing right now. Hang on here.
Because we were under the impression that the land directly across the road from us was owned by Blaze Farms.
Wall number 165400.
Yes, and I think that's the property where things were confused, and we did try to get clarification from the applicant. That Bay's property is part of the proposal.
It is correct. I think there was some confusion with an outdated record from the titles office. I believe Tanya had looked into this.
And I'm trying to compare right now what's on the notice versus what's on.
Mr. CEO, do you want me to give you some time while Brianne answers the other questions?
Sure, I think I could multitask and hopefully figure this out.
It was the map on the first page of the River's Edge Eco Escape pamphlet that was emailed out. It was outlined in white of her proposal. Is the one we're comparing it to.
Sorry, that would have been from myself, and I think that was an old, an original plan and not the updated one. I apologize for that inconvenience. I wasn't aware that that plan was being sent out. I can share it on my screen. I have it up if you'd like.
Yeah, I can see how the marketing material looks a little bit different than our map.
Yeah.
And if we look at
and yes, I am
this Waddell's property, the southernmost portion of the Waddell's property is actually, equal with the northernmost point of the applicant's property. So I think if you were, at 1937 looking right at the river, the property would be all south. I know, yeah, I see the map. It looks like it's extended highway.
Dominic, our assistant CEO, is there any capability that Brianne can show the map that she's wanting to show so that we can have a clarification on what exactly is being presented in comparison with what the RM has sent out for? There you go.
Yes, I just gave her the opportunity to share her screen there.
Okay, go ahead, Brianne.
And yes, that would be that property, northern property line is directly at my driveway, which is very different than what the RM had sent out in their notice.
Mr. CEO, do you have any comments yet?
I can confirm that whatever Brianne showed is the intention of the property. Unfortunately, I don't have our planner, Tanya Waddell, to discuss this.
No relation.
No problem. I'm just going to go back to the notice of hearing.
That's what I'm looking at too.
And yeah, it's tough to say. The affected area is different. However, the notices could have gone a little bit further out as well. Because if it includes that northern property that's not on this mailing list and that doesn't look like that, then the notices should have also gone to people further north of where it is. So I think in this case, wow.
Mr. CEO, I'd like, Mr. CEO, I'd like to
correct. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Mark, I'm going to jump in here. I'm going to request that we actually, can we table this or do we have to just completely do a whole new thing, Mitch? Because I would rather it be done properly the first time than having to go back and if there's any issues.
Yes, let's, what I would recommend is that we suspend this hearing or table the hearing. And that we set a date right away. So that way we don't have to go through the process all over again. In the meantime, we will confer with legal regarding the proper procedure for advertising for the maps and the property, et cetera, et cetera. We will come back and move forward from there.
Okay, I'm going to discuss with council right now. So we will we'll stop any discussion with the public right now. Council, I'm looking at dates right now. Do you want to continue before the new year? So I'm looking at either the 18th, 21st, or 22nd.
Well, depends how long it'll take us to get the information. Shouldn't take that long, eh?
No, I'm expecting a legal consult within 48 hours. That's why I'm pushing from the 18th to the 22nd.
18th is a Friday. I would not recommend the Friday night meeting.
Yep, so I'm looking at the 21st.
21st, okay.
I'm okay with that.
Reschedule for said time and we'll do our due diligence at the administration.
I'm just confirming I don't have anything with the AMM.
And will the other neighbors be informed whether they are involved or not?
We'll be working on that with legal to see what the next steps are to confirm the position. So yeah, we'll give an update once we know.
We were very surprised.
I do have a question. Should we not wait long enough for Brianne to maybe come up with the conservation notes and such, however long it takes? She says that she's got these or can get these. Maybe they would be a little bit more pertinent if they were at this meeting also.
Well, the discussion is about the position of notices, and that's why we suspended the hearing. Anything else outside of that has no valid point, unfortunately. So we are just looking at council discussing now. Unfortunately, public, I will ask you to please mute your microphones. And we're looking at a date for Monday. I've got a meeting at 9:30 p.m. oddly, so let's try and do it for 6 p.m. December 21st. Council's okay, in favor with that?
Okay.
Yeah,
that works. Thank you. So
Mr. Mayor, it would still be a public hearing because we have not closed this public hearing.
Yes, exactly. So the public hearing, yes, exactly. So we will be suspending the public hearing where the public can still speak on that day on December 21st at 6 p.m. Council's in favor?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we will move on after that date is set. Mr. CEO, you have that?
Chris, just before you move on, as a note, I was able to find the legal survey. Did you want me to bring it up now or send it? I know Tanya already looked into this.
Yeah, if you wanted, Brianne, we've suspended now. So if you just want to send any information that you have to Tanya or our CEOs or assistant CEO, that'd be great. We'll continue our due diligence.
Okay, sounds good.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to 6.2.5 C30-2020 TriStar Automation 1653 PR210 General Storage.
My apologies, need to catch up here. The proposal is to allow a general storage facility in an agricultural general zone. Notices were sent out to 100 meters of the said property, as well as the Public Works Manager, the McDonald Rooftop Planning District, Building Inspector, Council, Fire Chief, Municipal Board, Municipal website, also posted at the St. Adolphe Case and St. Adolphe Esso.
Okay, I'll open the public hearing at 8:55 p.m. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor in person?
No, there's not.
Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor online? Is there anything received in favor?
Nothing received in favor.
Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition in person?
No, there is not.
Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition online?
I have some questions.
Where are we there? Ryan, yeah, go ahead.
According to the notice, they're rezoning like back a half a mile from the highway.
Okay.
That comes into view from my yard. I guess I'm opposed to them putting a row of sea cans out my front window.
Okay.
But I don't know if that's their plan or not.
Okay, no, fair enough. We can ask that. We can ask that question here, unless council has looked through the business plan to determine what kind of storage there is.
As far as I know, it was everything within the dike. I don't believe that back half mile is diked all the way down.
It's not, but I mean, once it's rezoned, can they just put a hill and then a row of sea cans?
Well, there's already a dugout halfway down, so I don't know if that would actually be feasible for them to throw it. From my understanding, it's going to be just strictly in the old Village Enterprise property.
Okay, it's not a bunch of sea cans on top of the dike or nothing like that.
No, but again, I'm not the applicant on that one.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, any other questions, Ryan?
No, that's about it.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate that. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Is there anything received in opposition?
Yes, there's a letter of opposition received from a Cheryl Jasper. And let me blow this up. How's your internet, Dominic?
It's fine. Do you want me to take over the reading
Yeah,
of the letter?
I'm a little bit winded out right now, so if you don't mind, please.
No problem. So this is from Cheryl Jasper, civic address 1542 Sid Road. I'm opposed to the application for rezoning of the above property from agricultural to commercial property. My residence faces and is within 300 meters of the property in question. I moved to this residential lot at 1542 Sid Road in the RM of Richat from St. Norbert in 1995. First and foremost, the reason I moved to make my home here at 1542 Sid Road was so I could live in a quiet, rural, agriculturally zoned area. Another important reason I chose to live and move here was mainly because of underlying mental health conditions I have, which restrict my ability to process anything that causes excess daily anxiety. I also chose to live my life on this property because my home faces the open eastern view of the agriculturally zoned land with the quaint deer moving about in the field. The peace and tranquility of the country life is what proved beneficial to my mental health, which improves my quality of life. There are no walls, no trucks or campers moving around, no alarms, no lights, and no added worries of vandalism taking place in the field across from my home. I'll mention here that I had multiple opportunity to buy a house and reside amongst many other homes on a busy street or in a town, or amongst industries, or near commercial areas with lower property taxes. But for improved quality of life and health, I chose to move and live here amongst the agriculturally zoned properties. We have dealt with floods here, much anxiety involved there, but have since had our place flood-proof, which eliminates any further flooding anxiety now. So even with all of this mentioned, I still chose to stay on this property in the country because I love my home and I love the peaceful eastern sunrise that I watch while sitting on my veranda every morning in the spring, summer, and fall. I sit there alone in the evening and throughout the day, just taking in the serene view of the east, which is most therapeutic for my mental health and the anxiety I deal with. I tried moving once, but leaving my home here was much too depressing, so I returned. I don't feel it necessary to reveal too much of my personal health issues, so I'll stop here. I had found the serenity I needed with living on my property. My frontage currently faces the unobstructed eastern country skies that the RM of Reshat so proudly speaks of, with an agriculture zoned area encompassing my property on Sud Road. I'm so grateful to have found the serenity I need living here. It appears that the RM of Reshat now wants to rezone the area directly across the road from my home along a strip within the field. It's much too close and it's what I'll have to look at every day. This rezoning proposal is causing further anxiety and stress for me. The idea of rezoning that property from agriculture to commercial from a storage facility for campers and large sea storage containers will bring about increased theft and vandalism, and that in itself would be enough to cause too much anxiety, worry, and stress for my condition and my health. I will constantly be pacing my property with worry. I already am with just the thought of the storage unit going there. The storage facility will also cause the wildlife I enjoy in the area to vacate, and I love the view of the wildlife here. It brings me a feeling of peace and solitude and a bit of happiness. In a way, it's a form of self-therapy, another reason I moved here in 1995. My health professionals are aware of how it helps me cope. There will be lights and walls and alarms and piled up sea storage container units, as well as vehicles, noise, action and flow, perhaps mess and trash, also trucks and traffic and public traffic to the area that was once zoned as the peaceful agriculture land that was there when I bought this property. I can even see the dump lights over 3 kilometers away from my property. So I'm pretty sure that the lights put up at the proposed storage unit within 300 meters will be more than a stress-causing affliction for me. When I bought this property on Sud Road, I looked into the rezoning of this area. I was told it was more than difficult for this area to be rezoned, and I need not worry that it would happen. If this rezoning happens, my therapeutic view each morning will be that of commercial, industry, limited, all what I've come to enjoy in life. And that thought in itself is more than depressing. The rezoning to the areas surrounding me will commence with this property, followed by the next and then another, as applicants for rezoning will be using this rezoned property as an example to further their individual applications. My property value will decrease substantially, not increase, with the frontage view of a storage facility versus the serene agriculture view it is today. Tall fences and lights and alarms surrounding the said facility should not be amongst residential homes. I realize the lights and cameras they speak of in their application will be added there to watch for and try to prevent the crime and vandalism, but it doesn't and will not stop the thieves. Following the untimely death of my husband a few years ago now on St. Mary's Road, my anxiety and mental health has greatly worsened and I won't be able to work through the above listed stresses. As well, I'm still unable to return to any suitable employable, and if requested, I can provide supporting documents to the RM of Reshat to verify my claim. If the RM of Reshat is adamant on rezoning the area across the road from me, I would ask to be reimbursed for relocating to a similar property that I have lived at here for the past 25 years. I'm not employed and can't take on any added costs involved with relocating. This is my home and life. We have worked hard over the years to make this our home. There is understandably also an emotional attachment to this place we call our home, which would as well be a major setback for me. I have been here for 25 years now. The property behind me on PR 210 has been rezoned since I moved here, the dairy to the south with many added barns went ahead. I have not defied any of those changes. I'm finding the RM of Reshat's rezoning plan to be inconsiderate to the people of this area, as there are a cluster of residential homes that have been here for 40+ years. There are many other properties within the RM of Reshot that are not in the vicinity of the residential homes, and those are the areas that should be considered for rezoning if businesses want to move out of the city to where we live. The life I'm living, which I make as stress-free as possible, is here and now. I won't be able to handle looking at trailers or sea cans piled up, or alarms or lights or whatever becomes from rezoning the area from agricultural to commercial right across the road from me. Please note, people locate to various locations to live their lives for various reasons. Not all those reasons are made known to others or to our public representatives. I find it unreasonable that the RM of Reshot would come to decide to rezone or shake up the residents' lives in an area they live just for more tax dollars. I think that rezoning this would be unfair to the families that live here. You should be taking care of the residents within your community and their safety. For all the reasons listed, I feel the storage units is not something that is acceptable amongst the residential homes. This is my home. I've lived here for years, raised my family, worked hard to save from floods, including 97, and I'm opposed to this application. I wish to continue living my tranquil life as it is, and that's all I have for tranquility at the moment. Kind regards, Mrs. Cheryl Jasper, resident within 300 meters of proposal.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dominic.
You're well rested now, Mitch.
I am.
Is there anyone else wishing to make comment in favor or against, or any comments? Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing at 9:06 p.m. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Mamchuk.
Thank you. Second.
Councillor Peltzik.
Thank you.
If approved, the conditional use would read, therefore be resolved that conditional use application C30-2020 is approved subject to following conditions. That this use shall, number one, that this use shall not be noxious, offensive, or hazardous by reason of emissions or production of odor, dust, refuge matter, waste, vapor, gas, smoke, vibration, or noise that shall not create any nuisance beyond the property sightlines. There shall be no storage of hazardous liquids, materials, or substances. 3, the operation shall not generate undue traffic or adversely affect the amenity and convenience of the neighborhood. 4, the applicant shall comply with municipal noise bylaw 14-2003. 5, any outdoor lighting must be located, arranged, or shielded so that no light is directed at any adjoining properties. 6, that the applicant shall maintain the storage area for proper drainage so as to not affect adjacent properties. 7, if CCANs are used for storage, a development permit must be obtained for each CCAN from the RM of Reshot. 8, items stored outside shall be kept in a tidy manner so to not create an unsightly appearance. 9, the storage of derelict vehicles is not permitted. 10, the applicant shall ensure that any and all proposed construction conforms to the Manitoba building codes, fire codes, health standards, labor laws, and any other municipal or provincial permits and approvals as may be required. 11, that the applicant shall comply with the littering bylaw 5-2011. 12, any signage shall comply with the municipal zoning bylaw 9-2019 part 11. And 13, that the applicant shall sign a confirmation letter accepting the terms of this order. There may be site audits conducted to ensure compliance, and non-compliance issues may be caused to revoke the conditional use at any time.
Thank you very much, Mr. CEO. I will open up for council discussion.
We haven't seen a site plan for this, have we?
Well, the business plan says he might have 70 different type of CCANs according to his business plan.
Yeah, but I'm looking at the, yeah, you're totally right. But I'm looking at the property and the existing buildings right now, and I'm curious where the CCANs will actually be placed. If it'll be on that narrow stretch that.
It's the airstrip. Right, Shane, it's the airstrip, right?
No, the airstrip isn't on their property. The airstrip is the neighbors.
It's the neighbors, okay. So it's right across from it then.
Right beside it, yeah.
Because I don't know where the heck he's gonna put all these sea cans.
Well, it's not 70 sea cans. It's 70 storage units.
Okay, so
So there's going to be some that are in a warehouse, and then there's 30 spaces for parking your RVs or boats.
Any other comments from council?
I guess it's already,
Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
no, go ahead, Councilor Belanger.
Well, I was just when we were in planning, we were discussing this, and I guess I was under the impression that everything, like Shane said earlier, was going to be within that diked area, not further down. So it actually took me a while to figure out where the letter of complaint was situated, and you know, it seems like it's quite far down that property, directly across from that lagoon type of thing. So could we maybe get clarification on restricting the location of his storage units, or would that help to relieve the stress of the neighboring community and that kind of thing?
I was thinking, Janine, if we can make the limit to where that jut out is on the property, right? So it's just that
rectangle,
just the front section proper.
Yeah, that was my only concern.
Yeah.
With that, if that narrow strip was utilized, then I mean, because we heard a fairly passionate plea.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and in looking at the property, I think they couldn't get very far back anyway, because the borrow pit goes from side to side on it. So even if they could, it looks like it'd only be 100 feet. But I think just in reading the business plan, the intent is within the old village enterprise site proper.
Any concerns with lighting? Because I know typically with storage units that are very well lit to deter, you know, any crime. And, you know, they're talking about floodlights, but I guess if they're using motion detectors, that would cut down on it somewhat. The motion sensing.
I'm curious, are there other businesses around that area right now?
Not to my knowledge.
It doesn't look like it.
Not till a little farther west, closer to St. Adolphe after you pass Sud. There's that, what was the Triple Green property that's currently for sale.
Correct.
Oh yeah. Yeah, okay. I'm just curious what kind of lighting system they have and if it's been intrusive.
And correct me if I'm wrong, we're not rezoning the property, right? So
it's a conditional use.
Yeah. So in that letter, it was quite a big concern that it was being rezoned, but that's not the case here. So I think there's a lot of stuff in that letter that maybe just conversation could really ease, what was her name, Jasper's anxiety, because we don't want to cause that, but I think there's a lot of misconception or misinformation possibly, or misinterpretation, I mean.
I think that's a valid concern, Councillor Belanger, but I think the stress level comes with the application of the storage facility. So whether it's rezoned or a conditional use, I think it's the use of the property for what it's intended.
Okay.
I don't know if that helps.
Well, is there any way we can limit it to within that diked area, that front?
And that's the discussion for council, is that when you're doing these conditional uses, you could, if we haven't thought of any other conditions, then by all means throw it our way. And one of them, from what I'm hearing, is that to have the facility within that bigger square parcel, which is 210 meters from the southern property line.
I was just going to measure it. It's like you're psychic.
I'm something.
I'll put a ruler on my monitor.
And just for council's information, the northwest corner of the applicant to the southeast corner of the letter where we received the objection is about 475 meters as the crow flies. So there's some distance, but there is also some closeness. So less than half a kilometer away.
Yeah.
Property line to property line.
So is council asking for the recommendation that it's within the dike area?
That's what I'd like to see, yep.
Yeah, I think that would be one.
Okay, that's the first recommendation. Any other recommendations if it was to go through?
My concern is still with the lighting, but I'm not sure how you could limit that, or if we really even know how much they're going to use.
Yeah, and I know we've changed the wording on these conditional uses for the lighting to, it includes being shielded so as to not be, you know, another sun glowing in your backyard. So that addresses it. We haven't seen one in action yet, so I don't know how that translates into in the middle of an open field.
Well, there's some lighting there right now, but it can't be very much because she didn't complain about the lighting now.
Yeah, I don't know how much Village lights it up, or if
There's a couple, but yeah, there's
Yeah.
a couple, nothing too bright that would, yeah.
Any other discussion? No, seeing none, I will call for the vote. Please cast your vote now.
The vote is carried 3-2. The two against were Councillor Clayton and Councillor Mamchuk.
Thank you very much. Moving on to 7, bylaws to consider. 7.1, sorry, bylaw 13-2020, amending bylaw 11-2020, reduced speed school zones, second reading. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Mamchuk?
Councillor Mamchuk moves, second by Councillor Clayton.
Okay, this to refresh council's memory, this is in regarding a school zone for the Gab Roy School. It's for the street, Hamilton Street, and we're looking at putting a 30 zone, 30 meters to the north and 40 meters to the south of the property lines.
Thank you. I'll open it up for council debate. Any questions?
Anytime there's a, no, just anytime there's a restriction around a school is a good thing.
Sounds good. Okay, council, cast your vote.
Okay, I got kicked out of here. I'm in favor.
Yeah. I got kicked too, but it did go through finally.
I'm dope.
Clayton's the only one with good internet tonight.
What's up now?
Therefore, the vote is carried 5-0.
What the heck?
Thank you. Moving on, 7.2, bylaw 13-2020, amending bylaw 11-2020, reduced speed school zones, third reading. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Mamchuk.
Councillor Mamchuk moves, second by Councillor Belanger.
Second reading, same as the third.
Okay, I'm back, I think. Yeah.
Perfect. Glad to have you back. Any final discussion? Nope. March forward, cast your vote.
I'm in favor. Verbally. Yep. Just hang on here. Maybe I got it now. Hang on here.
Sorry, Councillor Manship, I will kick you out and the vote is carried 5-0.
Okay, thank you
very much.
Yeah, I think I'm back in operation now.
Okay, 7.3, bylaw 14, 2020 GPHA loan, second reading. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Mamchuk,
Second.
Councillor Clayton.
Thank you.
Person.
All good.
Give me a second here, folks.
I was gonna say, I think we just killed our CEO.
Yeah.
Might have to read it for him.
Kathleen.
If I can just jump in, should I be removing myself again from this voting
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
due to conflict of interest? I will go
Julie.
away. Text me when it comes back, okay?
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor
7.3.
Belange.
Okay, 7.3.
Sorry, who was the mover and seconder?
Mamchuk.
Mamchuk and Clayton.
Okay, thank you. Yes, so basically this is for second reading of a loan bylaw. So therefore there's no need for public hearing as it meets the criteria of the loan process. It is for a nonprofit group. The amount is in the loan is for $320,000 payable over the 15-year period of 2.65%. I think Councillor Boulanger has explained the project to council. If there's any questions, I could try to address them.
Okay, I'll open up for debate from council. Council, any questions?
Not here.
Oh, I'm here. I'm here. It's the project.
Okay, cast your vote.
Councillor Mamchuk, I believe, is still having problems.
I thought I voted. 7.3?
Yep.
Yep. It is not cooperating for you, sir.
Okay, I'm in favor. Sorry.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you. The vote is carried 4-0.
Thank you. 7.3.1 bylaw 14, 2020 GPHA on third reading. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Mamchuk.
Thank you. Second.
Okay.
Councillor Pelletier. It's a late one.
Same as second reading, no changes.
Thank you. Council, final thoughts?
Build it up.
Go ahead.
Perfect. Cast your vote.
I hope it works this time, Mr. CEO.
It has. The vote is carried 4-0.
Perfect. I just texted Councillor Boulanger. We'll wait 30 seconds here. It's getting to be late here.
Well, it's like I don't have to drive home.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. 7.4 bylaw 15, 2020 building bylaw, second reading. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Mamchuk.
Thank you. Councillor Mamchuk, second by Councillor Clayton.
Okay, our building inspector, to summarize, has updated the building bylaw based on the new codes, added some definitions, all that was put in the summary. Council has that in front of them. I have nothing else to add to this. It's well time for an update.
Okay, any questions from council?
Not here.
None here.
No,
Okay.
None here.
Council, cast your vote.
Councillor Mamchuk, you already voted. You're fine.
Okay. Thank you.
You're ahead of the game, Ron.
Vote is carried 5-0.
Okay, I better
Thank
slow
you.
down.
7.5. 7.5 bylaw 15 2020 building bylaw third reading. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Pelletier.
Second.
Councillor Mamchuk.
Thank you. Final thoughts? Please cast your vote. With Ron's quick hand and Curtis's quick internet, we can take over the world next.
Unfortunately, I need your vote, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, I ruined it. I voted on something else then. My bad.
What's chatter?
The vote is carried 5-0.
7.6 bylaw 16 2020 organizational and established committees. Third reading. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Mamchuk.
Second. Go ahead,
Councillor
Clayton.
Blanchet.
Councillor Blanchet. I hear clicking. I'm distracted here. I'm hearing clicking. Did you hear that?
It's not
That's
me.
just Janine moving around too much.
Oh,
Her microphone picks up a lot. It's pretty good, actually. Oh, good, Janine.
okay. Councillor Boulanger second that. Go ahead, Mr. CEO.
So council, every 2 years, I like to run the committees by council. Council made some adjustments, especially also after the vice presidential win from our local mayor. So some duties have been adjusted accordingly. So third reading on the line.
Perfect. Any final comments from council? No. Cast your vote.
So which one are we voting on now?
7.6.
You're voting on 7.6.
Okay, thank you.
The vote is carried 5-0.
Thank you. 8.1.1, amend development agreement with North Grassy Properties, Inc. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Blanchet.
Thank you. Second.
Councillor Mamchuk.
Councillor Mamchuk. Oh, Shadil.
Okay, as discussed at the planning meeting, there were some articles that when the development agreement was passed that the developer did not entirely agree with and wanted to have it subject to change. Of that was regarding clause number 7 regarding maintenance, number 10 regarding access and access driveways, and number 17 regarding the fence. As part of the condo declaration, it required RM approval. After discussions with our own legal, there's no need to have RM approval for these. So we would like to amend the development agreement to remove these clauses in those sections. That is it. That is all.
Thank you. I'll open up for council discussion. Any comments?
Not here.
No. Okay, cast your vote. Cast your vote.
Vote is carried 5-0.
Thank you. 8.1.2, Forthright Ventures request for sign approvals. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Clayton.
Second.
Councillor Mamchuk.
Councillor Mamchuk.
Okay, as it's required to have a resolution of council for sign approvals in a residential area, we're talking about 3 signs. One basically will be at the front along PR 200. I had to think of my numbers here. Along PR 200, that may be a temporary sign, but temporary in length due to it being the main advertising for rentals along for that property. Also more permanent signs for the address civic location located at the entrance. And I believe there's a third sign located at the corner indicating the, bless you, Councillor Pelletier, regarding the entrance.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council?
They're nice
Yes.
signs.
Okay, yeah, I
The
agree.
one,
They're well done.
the billboard sign, that's a, just temporary to attract tenants. Is that the idea? And
That's
it
right.
won't be
Yeah.
up permanently?
And I think with time, once they have a good base of clientele, that sign will be likely changed to something else. But right now they do want to do a splash advertising out there.
Any other comments?
None here.
No, council, cast your vote. I just lost it again. I'm in favor.
Thank you. The vote is carried 5-0.
Thank you. 8.1.3, November 2020 building permit reports. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Belanger.
Second.
Councillor Mamchuk.
Councillor Mamchuk.
So just a summary provided by our planning department, November building permits, a total of 11 worth 3.6 in construction with $9,800 in fees. That brings the 2020 total to 175 with 36.3 millions of construction at $107,000 of building permits. Way ahead of the game. And I won't say that come the month of December, because if we're ahead of the game now, we'll be ahead of the game then. With 21.6 million and 80,000 in building permits in 2019.
Awesome. What a great year. Good job, admin, for keeping the motions going. Any questions from council?
Good.
Not here.
Okay, cast your vote.
Vote is carried 5-0.
Thank you. And moving on to item 11, unless council would like to see the CEO list off the agenda minutes and managers reports from 9.1 verbally.
Yes, please.
Should be thorough.
We'll move to adjournment. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Pelche.
Councillor Mamchuk.
Pelche, second by Mamchuk. Please cast your vote.
I think we're losing Ron.
Yeah,
Come on, where are we here?
it's adjournment. So just cast your vote.
I'm in favor, but why does it kick me out?
My internet's really bad right now too, Ron. It's not just you.
Vote is carried 5-0.
Thank you. I'll end the meeting at 9:32 p.m. and record.